There we go. Okay, thanks for joining everyone, and I'm just going to let these additional people in. Thanks for joining everyone. It's a beautiful sunny afternoon here in Wellington. I'm just stuck in my car, but we've got lots more people just joining on. Hang on, I'll just let me add these people in. Right, we've got Damien McGill here from healthyhome.kiwi, and he is here to talk us through the passive house modelling process, and in the process of doing so to actually help us to understand how to include a solar load assessment as part of that package. For those who don't know, passive house is a tool that's been used historically. Originally, it was quite a straightforward spreadsheet, and I believe it's developed a lot in the years since I last looked at it. So I'll hand over to Damien to run us through the tool, and he's going to take us through a simplified example and then provide us with the with the solar modelling part of it. So Damien, over to you.
Kia ora. Thanks very much, Nathan. Welcome everybody. This is a slideshow I've just been putting together for a number of webinars coming up. So you guys are all guinea pigs. This is the first time I've run it. Hopefully it works all right. I've been practicing it all morning. So why passive house? Think of snuggling up with the whānau in the warmest, most comfortable home you can imagine. Now think of your neighbours and the whole community doing the same. Think about how much better life would be for everybody. Passive house provides futures where people thrive. So the format of today's presentation is a bit of a discussion about what passive house is and fins, and then the modelling process and SketchUp and Design PH, looking at the passive house planning package, and then what everyone's on the chat to have a look at is PV modelling. And hopefully we'll have time for Q&A at the end of that. So let's get cracking. So a little bit about me. I'm Damien McGill. I'm a certified passive house tradesperson and certified passive house consultant. I'm the Canterbury lead for Passive House Institute in New Zealand. What I really want to do is provide affordable passive houses for everyone in Aotearoa. I have a business called the Healthy Home Corporation. We're engineering happy, healthy homes for people and planet. We provide energy efficiency advice, energy modelling, geotechnical and structural engineering, and recently we also do blower door testing. We really like to celebrate the success of every home. My brother and sister-in-law have a vineyard and cidery in Upper Moutere, so there's always cases of Chardonnay or cider for the happy clients. So why do we need passive house? Our homes are supposed to be built to last at least 50 years. A lot can happen over that time. Our homes need to be future-proof to consider our health and well-being, the rising price of power, and the warmer, wetter climate in which we live. This is not happening with our current buildings. We tend to fall into the trap of short-term thinking and only consider part of the system. We worry about the upfront price to build or renovate, but forget the long-term benefits of not being sick in winter with doctor's visits and prescription medicine, not having the stress of balancing work requirements of sick leave to attend to unhappy children. This is a problem with our current housing psychology. Every year I get a call from staff to ask me to discuss whether to leave the heat pump on or not to save money. This year I said it was a stupid argument because the purpose of a heat pump is to keep warm, not to save money. What if you lived in a building where you didn't need to make that choice? A couple of doctor's visits and a couple of prescriptions and any power saving is wiped away, like clearing condensation from windows. All that is achieved is to feel miserable all winter. Passive house are the voluntary international best practice standard for buildings that produce warmer, drier, healthier, more comfortable homes that use a lot less power to keep warm. Passive houses are perfect partners for Kiwi conditions. Whether this is the winterless north or the deep dark south, passive house can keep you cool in summer and warm in winter right across the motu. The technical description for passive house is a building for which thermal comfort can be achieved solely by heating or cooling the fresh air volume required to provide good indoor air quality anyway. So fundamentally, passive house is all about comfort. The house on the left is in Auckland. The house on the right is Slovenia. Passive house is a fabric-first approach to achieving healthy and comfortable buildings. Clearly defined standard and a quality management system that produces buildings that deliver on all aspects of occupant well-being while consuming very little energy. There's no longer a need to burn fossil fuels to power the spaces where we live, work, and play. Passive house provides good buildings that help us live great lives. Fabric first means that the building is improved before any external paraphernalia is added. So the alternative is fabric fifth, where the aim is to offset all the energy you are using to stay warm with renewable generation, like solar panels. In my view, it fails to consider comfort for occupants. Passive house is the world-leading standard in energy-efficient design. Passive house has been around for over 30 years. There are nearly 6,000 certified passive house buildings across the world. Passive house is all about comfort. The beauty of passive house is that it is a worldwide standard used in every continent. The combined learnings of every passive house proponent are fed back into the matrix to ensure continual improvement. This is a much faster way to build better buildings than just relying on the New Zealand context. Around the world, the passive house standard is really starting to take off. And we're making good progress here in Aotearoa too. Here are some of the houses that have been certified in New Zealand. They come in all shapes and sizes. They've been built of all sorts of materials, including straw bales, insulated concrete, structural insulated panels, as well as your standard timber frame. When people think of passive house, they're generally thinking of Certified Passive House Classic. There are actually three different standards. Certified Passive House for new builds, Certified Retrofit for renovations, and PHI Low Energy Building, which can be for new builds or renovations. As you can see within the first two, there are three variations: Classic, Plus, and Premium. Plus and Premium include renewable energy generation, which is obviously of interest to people on this chat. The PHI Low Energy Building Standard was originally created for people who just missed out on the Passive House Classic Standard. It's actually a really good standard and one that we should at least start with here in Aotearoa. So at the core of Passive House are these 5 principles. This is my take on them. Wonderful windows located in line with the insulation. Airtight always. Inspired insulation. Heat recovery ventilation. Thermal bridge free. Here's another representation of the Passive House principles, which combined with energy modelling form the ingredients of the Passive House standard. The building envelope is just a description of the building layers that separate the inside from the outside. These 6 components are all that is required to build better, more salubrious homes for people and planet, whānau and whenua, across the moto and all around the world. 6 main considerations are all we need to secure our future. Passive House works because there's been 25 years worth of international testing and refining. Every single passive house is checked, tested and verified by an independent third-party certifier. Imagine if the whole world builds to the same standard. Imagine the efficiencies that can be gained and the learnings that can be had. Passive House provides homes where people thrive. So a bit of takeaways for you. Something to ask your builder and designer before you start down this journey. How much will it cost to keep buildings between 20 and 25 degrees C all the time? Can you test drive the house before it's built? How will fresh air be constantly supplied? What level of air tightness can they achieve? Where are the windows to be located? Are the foundations fully insulated? Passive House Institute FINS is on a mission to close the gap between the desired and actual performance of buildings and to accelerate the delivery of measurable and continuous improvements in the indoor environmental quality in tandem with their energy efficiency. We work with professionals and the public sector to improve the energy efficiency of homes and public buildings, helping improve health and well-being of all New Zealanders. We educate the building industry and members of the public about certified passive houses and improve energy efficiency and indoor environmental quality in New Zealand buildings. We share our research on the performance of the built certified passive houses in New Zealand, on the New Zealand climate and on the housing industry in order to promote energy efficient building options. We promote the Passive House standard as defined by the Passive House Institute Germany across the Motu. We provide formal Passive House training through the Passive House Academy of New Zealand. So recently I posted something on LinkedIn. I spend quite a bit of time on LinkedIn early in the morning, so you can always follow me there. But I posted something and Dr. Wolfgang Feist came back with this. Passive House is based on fundamental laws of physics, be it classical or quantum, but it's technological application that doesn't require rocket science. In fact, anyone can understand it, and more importantly, anyone can contribute to making it happen. Well, that was pretty awesome. So join us, get involved in the movement, provide homes for your future and all our futures. Kia ora, be healthy, build homes where people thrive. So that's the end of the presentation of Passive House. And I'm just going to swap over to the modelling process so you can see what's happening. So the first thing that we do is, once we're engaged, is send out this tracking sheet of all the information we want. There's a hell of a lot of information required, and it's quite detailed.
Damien, can I just get you to zoom in on the left-hand side of your spreadsheet there so we can read the text?
I can blow it up a bit. So what's there is doesn't matter so much, but it's all about the building. There's a saying that is all models are wrong, some are useful, and to try and make them useful you want a decent amount of information. So you're looking at, and I'll go into this a bit further, but you're looking at all your building geometry, all your construction detailing, what your windows are, what your glazing specification is, what all your wall assemblies are, what all your insulation materials are, what's your air tightness strategy, what your ventilation target is, what all your systems are, what's your heating, what's your plumbing layout, whether you've got solar, and what the specifications of each of those machines, as Mike likes to call them, are. So there's a hell of a lot of information that is required to make a very accurate model, and that's something that people struggle to understand to start with. We can create a model of some of this information, but an accurate model needs good quality information. And this is also why I digress a little bit, but this is why when you hear people talking about energy performance certificates and how easy they would be and how cheap they should be and all that, this is why they don't work as they're currently done overseas, because to get an accurate model and serious data, you need a lot of information. So if I just knock out of that. So the next thing is that we draw a model up in SketchUp. And this is my house on the left here. This is a block of townhouses that I've been renovating over the last few years. So you can see there that we've modelled, if I go out, we've modelled all the shading from the surrounding buildings. We've modelled the trees, shading for the trees. We've modelled the roof structure, which is also providing shading. Not a lot of eaves on these buildings, but we've modelled the shading, what's there. And you can see that the panels are showing up on on this building. I've modeled put the panels in there so you can see where they are. So this is a long-term plan of mine to electrify this whole block of 3 townhouses. If I get out of there. So this is probably what I should have done there is what we do. So we do this model, and then we have this thing called Design PH, and it's a little widget that helps get that's what you need is an error message, which helps get this into SketchUp. So the reason that the model looks red is that the Design PH has been running. So there's a button up here to do that. Get out of that. So this is PHPP. Anyone that's familiar with PHPP will have seen this. This is the front chart. This is the chart that counts. This is, you want this to say yes everywhere. So this is a summary chart. What's going on? I'm going to take you through just a few tabs. There's 40 something tabs in here. But what I wanted to show you is how vast and how detailed and how complex and how well thought out this is. It's really a piece of work, especially in an Excel spreadsheet. Of course, I'm an engineer, so Excel spreadsheets are just awesome. This is a tab that we do all the work in. It's called a variance tab. So we can run different scenarios. So you can see the scenario here. So I always have the baseline, the code minimum design, or where the building sits at the moment. This is for heating demand. And if I improve the windows and then insulation and ventilation, the slab and air tightness, we can see that how cumulatively the building is performing. So this is the really powerful part that a lot of modeling software doesn't do. We can put in different options. I can go back and I can put in the different solar panel options and see how they perform if that's what people want to do. So it's really powerful. We have a climate file here. So we're in Christchurch. So there's 19 climate files in PHPP, whereas there's only 6 climate files for building code or acceptable solutions. So I can move this. I can change this to any country. I can move this house to Australia and pick anywhere in Australia where I've got climate files for. It's something that I do in some of my presentations where I can't get things to Passive House. I move them to Napier or Auckland or Kaitaia so that we get compliance. So this is the building assembly. This is all our insulation, our wall layouts. So it's got floors, walls. So this is just your U values or your R values, your building assembly layouts. There's a tab here for all the areas of each wall. Each wall is measured, calibrated, and linked to the U values. The orientation is all looked at. Whether the wall's light coloured or dark coloured is all considered. We have a ground tab in here looking at the foundations. We've got a slab on grade in this building. We have the components tab. So the components is Passive House components and other components. So in here, where we mainly use it, I've got all the different glass varieties at the time when we did this building. And I've got window and door frames that we used at that time and all the data for that. So we know what the solar gain for each window is. We have the G value here. We know what the glazing, the G value or the R value of the glass is here. U value and R value are just the inverse of each other. So if I talk U values, which PHP uses, just think of the inverse of it. So windows. So all the windows for these 3 units have all been modeled in here. Their size, their location, the glass that's in there, the frame that's in there. And then we look across here and we look at the heating gains and losses on here. This is an older spreadsheet. My newer one has formatting which shows where you've got gains and losses. Gains are red and losses are blue. It also looks at comfort criteria of the windows here. So if we're getting little red boxes up, that fails the passive house comfort test. So what's really useful here is I can look at this particular window here is losing heat when we need heat. So I can look at, can I make that smaller? Or opposite, if I've got lots of overheating, it's fine. Nothing with great overheating on this. If I sign a big number like that, 210, then I can look at how I deal with that as well in the summertime. So when we look at shading, so all that data is the shading. So we're looking at the horizon. So, you know, like at 92 kilometers away from here, there's something 1,400 meters high. We're looking at the shading from the building itself. And we can also look at over here, we can look at winter and summer shading, and we can look at temporary shading as well. The ventilation tab here, looking at your ventilation systems. So all passive houses have mechanical ventilation, plus with heat recovery, heating. This is an energy balance. This is really useful for working out where to make improvements. If you look here, our windows are our biggest losing factor. They also provide the biggest losses. They also provide the biggest gains. If we could reduce that and increase that, we'd have a better house. We'd probably need to change from PVC triple glazing to say timber triple glazing to achieve that. So heaps more sheets here. Some are ventilation, some are sheet, looking at stress testing for overheating. So what happens if the climate change increases external temperature? What happens if we have a lot more people to the building? What if it's the worst possible scenario? So all that is looked at in here. District hot water, electricity, your heat pump, all that's plugged in. And the one that you guys are most interested in is this. So this is the PV sheet in PHPP. So you can see here that we've put the systems in, very uniquely named, unfortunately, and where they are. So they pop into where they are. The deviation from north is pretty much, I suspect, I don't know how the solar companies do it, but they do the same sort of thing. This just gives me ability to check that they've done it right, or that the numbers that they get generating is correct. And this is a really good independent check, I find, on whether we're getting the right information. So we're looking at nominal current, nominal variable. So this all comes off the panel sheets. The dimensions of the panels, the number of modules, how many panels, the height above ground of the panels, the height from the horizon, distance from the horizon, and the efficiency of the inverter. And you can run, 5 systems. We can do variants to run different versions of those systems. And then that generates, so we're working out the annual electricity yield after the inverter. Absolute is 5, 4, 9, 4, 4, 5, and those 3 options across the house. So fully loaded up on the panels. And this was done a couple of years ago. So hopefully things have improved a little bit. So we were looking at 19,500 kilowatt hours per annum if we looked at putting solar panels across that roof like you saw in the SketchUp model before. And, you know, from that, you can then work out what your usage is actually going to be, you know, how much you're going to feed into the grid. Saying about 50, it's about 50% efficient. So you can do some calculations then. And there you go. That's the graph produced looking at your yield, your monthly yield. And yeah, so that's basically it in terms of what PHPP can do. It's, to me, it's important not just to look at what you put on the roof to generate electricity. It's everything's a system, and we need to look at the system in its entirety. So I will flick out of that, and I will close. I could just leave that in there. Should I close my screen down, Nathan? Stop my sharing?
Yeah, probably a good idea to leave it open for now, I would say, just in case there are any specific questions. I haven't seen any questions. I invited them via the chat. I've posted one of my own, which is in the chat there. Perhaps you could respond to that, and I'll just invite other people to think about questions and either dump it in the chat or put your hand up, and we can work our way through a few questions.
Right. What was your question?
Right. So my question is, what is the typical cost of PHPP assessment of a new build in New Zealand, including the process of information gathering, building the model, running scenarios, etc.? And then the second part is, could that PV check functionality within PHPP that you've just demonstrated be used by just creating some roof geometry and associating the PV panels with it to give us a quick and dirty check on the supplier's estimates, or do you need the full house in order to be able to do that?
Bloody hell, they're good questions. The standard house full assessment like that, collecting all the information I'm doing for under $2,000 at the moment.
Okay, and I'm assuming, well, I know because this is also kind of my field as well, that $2,000, I mean, it's less than half a meter square of floor area on a typical new build cost, right? Or it's you know, probably 2 or 3 months worth of energy bills on a standard house versus a passive house.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. I'm probably not making a whole lot of money out of doing it, but it's so critical. You know, like I said to you, I sort of mentioned before, if you're buying a new car, you go and test drive it, right? Or a second-hand car, you test drive it. Why don't you test drive your house? Your car, you might be spending 30, 50,000 on the car. Might be spending $1 million on the house. Why wouldn't you test drive the thing first? And this is what PHPP allows you to do. Allows you to do a test drive. Allows you to run different options. Allows you to check things like overheating. I didn't actually show the how the overheatings works there, but yeah, it looks. In terms of what you just said about could we just plug the panels and do a out top geometry? Yeah, I think you probably could actually. There's some data. Obviously, there's some data in terms of orientation and stuff like that. So you'd probably say build the SketchUp model here and not worry about windows, and then so that you could put the roof on and get all the orientation right. I think that is possible. I've been asked by I've been asked that, not that question, but someone else has asked me how we can do something slightly different, a bit more simply. But yeah, I haven't tried that, but yeah, I could see that would work. But I think to make life easy, you'd want to build the building, and you definitely need to show the shading and stuff in there. Otherwise, especially in wintertime. So, you know, like if I look at this,
that's something
not
where,
so bad.
Sorry,
not
that
so,
on the note of shading, that's where I think some of the more optimistic quotes that fail to deliver in reality fall down, is that the assessors haven't properly included shading.
Yeah. So, you know, like these are all 2-story townhouses here in central Christchurch, but if that was a 3-story building or a 4-story building, then that would make a huge difference to the performance of those panels.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So, you need to have as I said, with models, it's crap in, crap out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Question from Christian: would that $2,000 still be around that figure to assess passive house performance post build?
Yeah. Well, you still need the same amount of it's that collating of all that information and building this SketchUp model and then building that spreadsheet. There's a bit of time in it. I'd like to charge twice that much, but
yeah. Okay, and I'll just skip Steve's question for a second and go to Justine, who's asked, does PHI collect data on the actual performance of new builds and retrofits?
There's no system of sensors. I've got sensors all through my house. There's no system of sensors as part of the package, but every few years there'll be a study done somewhere that's collecting it from somewhere in the world. Right now, brands, as part of their Heat 2 study, have collected data for some passive houses in New Zealand. I think mainly in Christchurch. We're waiting for that information to be modelled. So not as part of the certification, but because it's been around for so long, everyone, it's been proved and tested, so it works. But yeah, it's nice to be able to have that data to compare yourself.
Yeah. Thank you. And then Steve has mentioned the PV Watts tool and how that's potentially a good option for no money spent. Steve, I'd like you to just unmute yourself if you don't mind and speak to that a little bit, and I may have some follow-up questions on that for you.
No?
Are you there, Steve? Can you unmute yourself?
I'm sure there's other tools, multiple other tools. The point of this exercise was to show people how the passive house punting package dealt with solar. It's a good fit because passive house is electrifying everything and using as little energy as possible, and then adding PV or renewable energy sources. So I just wanted to show people how that happened. There will be numerous other tools and systems out there that people will use and familiar with.
That's right. Yeah. Unfortunately, looks like Steve dropped off the call. So, I mean, my background is also in building energy, thermal simulation, building physics, and so on. My experience is that tools like PV Watts are things that a competent, qualified engineer can pick up and use at relatively no cost, inverted commas. But for your average person, paying for an assessment like this, even on a PV system, it's moderately sizable. And if we can get the modelling process simplified to just focus in on that, I think that's quite an interesting thing, because the conversation that we seem to be having in the Electrify group is around how we can assist people who are looking to put PV systems on with relatively, technical information in a way that actually makes a meaningful difference. And I think this effectively what we're talking about here, and what you described it as, if I can summarize, is like a sanity check on the estimates that you're getting from the suppliers. So, it's kind of is this ballpark figure that they're providing in line with something that's coming from an independent qualified source. And I think that's one of the real things that we struggle with generally when we're procuring engineer building products in New Zealand, is finding those qualified independent sources, and it's great that you're putting yourself out there and putting this package forward as a potential option for people.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, you think about it, it would be quite. Yeah, I think it's possible to. Yeah, you'd probably I'd have to look at it, but you could probably do a SketchUp model, outline SketchUp model without any windows, and put the roof and panels on, and generate the geolocation for this, and suck that into PHPP just to do the solar page. Definitely worth further thought. You know, I was been concentrating on how to make Passive House Classic into Passive House Plus and Premium with the panels. But no, you're right. It is something that I can have a think of and have a look at, because it would be a useful service probably. Yep.
Yeah, thank
All
you,
right.
Christian, for pointing out other tools that, such as the eco calculator, that also help people to get that ballpark feel. The differentiating factor of using a tool like PHPP, from my perspective, would be that you can go a little bit further in depth into the energy performance of the house as a whole, if you choose to do so. And because the energy savings from, you know, some relatively cost-effective retrofit upgrades, which haven't been mentioned here, can be quite compelling as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, but yeah, and the other thing, just from a panels point of view, is we can model different panels and from different suppliers and different options using this. I've closed it down there. Using the variants tab there in PHPP to see. So it's just really powerful piece of software, and really it's just a giant Excel spreadsheet. Like, it's not really anything to be afraid of. There's probably a lot of people on this call that are technically competent to be able to get involved and use the software with a bit of training. It's open source. You just have to buy the license, you know.
Yes. Okay. There's another question here from Justine saying, do you ever look at oversizing solar as a trade-off for maintaining comfort levels, e.g. more solar rather than triple glazing? It's a good question.
So that's, Justine, that's the fabric first versus fabric fifth debate. And we're going to have that debate in October here in Otatahi with Rewiring Aotearoa and Mike Cases. We're going to have Electrify Everything with Passive House, and we're going to have an event which hopefully we'll live stream, so we can have that sort of discussion. As I said, Passive House is to make everything energy efficient as possible, and then add panels. But I can get an old building, and which is very inefficient, and cover the whole place in panels. You know, I can get these panels and copy these panels anywhere you want to take them. And so I'm going to show you doing that, but yeah, so we can put as many panels on this place as you think you can fit, you know, if that's what you wanted to do. You know, we can we can have another set of panels on top of the fence here, or or on a mast, or we can, or make fences. But fences don't work so well in town because those fences are currently shaded down there. So I guess that's where the shading comes into the mix.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that, that point about the passive performance and optimizing the passive performance of the building, it is true that as rewiring has demonstrated, solar is, the lowest cost energy that you can supply to a house. There are still, longer term trends in terms of overall energy costs and ability to supply energy, and the passive performance of a building is something built into it for the lifetime of the building, assuming reasonable levels of maintenance, of course. And so, you know, whatever happens with the availability of solar panels and all the rest of it, you know, the general market moves, going to a higher passive performance building as a starting point if you're doing new build makes sense in terms of the life cycle impact of the building. There's a question here from Warwick. If someone is about to build a house and considering solar, it makes less financial sense to include solar initially, as the borrowing rate would be the market rate instead of the green rate. Oh, for a retrofit solar installation, right. So what would you recommend the assessment and design approach be for them? Do banks offer more advantageous finance for passive house, for example?
Look, everyone is different. Everyone is kind of unique. And what we can do, I'm just going to pull up what we normally do. So I don't use this tool solely for passive house. I would love to use this tool solely for passive house, but I use it for all builds. I'm probably going to start done a few code minimum builds. How do we improve the worst house that you can legally build in New Zealand? How do we make it more energy efficient? So here's a house in Carterton where we've looked at a timber framing option. We've looked at the standard timber framing option. We looked at 140 plus 45. We looked at SIPs, and we've looked at modeling different windows. So I can pretty much try any option people want. I can do, well, in theory, I can do 99 options of variants, but it would absolutely, I just click this button. I can do 99 variants, but it would absolutely kill my computer. So I don't know if anyone's ever tried to do.
And I think that's really the advantage of bringing in an independent expert like yourself in this scenario, Damien, is because it's very difficult to get a quantitative feel for these types of variants when you're looking at a new build. To have someone in the background advising you on that in a disinterested way. They don't have a pecuniary interest in it in the way that the home builder or the architects are great, and the architects that have taken the time to push into energy systems design is fantastic, but often they're limited by their analytical abilities, and this passive house package provides an ability to model holistically, provide realistic scenarios, and like you say, think different things for a test drive and look at what's the best value overall. It is a bit more involved, and it's important that you do include someone like Damien in that process, but I definitely see an advantage in doing it that way.
I always say, Nathan, I'm going to save my fee 2 or 3 times over. Like I'm sure Elwin's house, and I'm sure Elwin's on the chat in here probably somewhere. I'm sure he won't mind me saying he got a quote for some windows and he didn't like the number that was being quoted, and so I modelled the alternative windows. And so he was making a price-based comparison with no other information. Now I've modelled the alternative windows in his particular house, and you can see that the performance is nowhere near as good. So that even just doing that would have helped his decision. So what it's doing is driving data-based decisions. So you've got something to compare against that makes sense.
Okay. What we've got in the chat here, Natalia's responding to Justine, and then Warwick. More generally, if you could change anything, this is a good question, Warwick, thank you. More generally, if you could change anything, what would be the first / top 3 things that you would change to best incentive more healthy, comfortable housing to be built or remove barriers?
Everyone's always looking for the one big great thing, but how's
Yeah.
the system? But if I
Yeah.
went back to, but it's a good question. And if I go back, if I get out of this one, and go back to my one here and see if I can get back to this without crashing it. So we did some benefit cost analysis. I built a big spreadsheet for doing that, and then somebody said, "What's the return on investment of a stone bench top?" and put it all into perspective. So the things I would do are the things that of the new house that you can't do easily later. Insulating the slab, fully insulating the slab is a complete no-brainer. Bloody hard to add insulation under a concrete slab down the line, 5 years after it's built or 10 years after it's built. So that's where I'd start. And it's not expensive, and that's probably your biggest bang for buck. Your windows end up being, like it's where your heat comes from, your solar gain comes from. It's also where your biggest losses come from, and it's also generally the most expensive component on the house. But then, if you're doing a code minimum set of windows, they're saying that there are 0.5, but they're more like 0.4, 0.41, something like that. And, the windows that I'm using are R1. Well, your walls are R2. So straight away, that's going to be always your windows, your weakest element. So if you can improve the location, carefully think where the location of your windows are going and improve the performance of them within your budget, that's an easy way to start. And then, like on a retrofit house, then ceiling insulation all day, stick ceiling and ventilation doesn't have such a payback unless you're getting around super airtight. But, fresh air is important. Nothing else matters if you can't breathe.
Yeah. I could make some comments about the prices that people charge for MVHR systems when it's basically just a box with two fans and a plate heat exchanger in, but that's maybe a conversation for another day. There's a question here from Christian. If somebody we visit has a rubbish insulation in the roof, what R values should they retrofit to, and how does that compare to current code?
Christian, there's not a should. So these houses that you've just seen, they were built in 2003, and so the code there was 3.5, and I've just added 180 mils of Terralana R4 insulation to the top of that. Made a hell of a lot of difference, not just from being a bit warmer, but also from being a lot cooler as well. So there's probably a limit. Like if you were going to add like 400 mils of insulation, you're probably wasting your money. But current code schedule method is 6.6. It's about to get tossed out for a modeling or calculation method. Ostensibly to try and save money, not worry about comfort levels. But somewhere in that R6 level of insulation would give you a good grip. All your heat goes out your roof, so to a point, that's where you should start. Then your windows. Some of the window suppliers will tell you once your house is insulated, your biggest heating loss is out your windows.
Yeah, thank you. And Justine has a comment. Back to Natalia about for me it was more about whether you trade off the very top spec in some electrify elements. Everything elements from more solar.
Yeah, look at the advantages that we can, as I say, it's a test drive. Are we doing a Tesla and what additional things are we going to add on that Tesla, or are we doing a Toyota and Prius and how we're going to pimp that Prius? Everything or anything in between. That's the advantage of what we're able to do with PHPP.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so it sounds like Justine wants to pimp a Prius.
Yeah. Does anybody have any other questions for Damien at this point? I think it's been a pretty informative session, and hopefully we'll stimulate a bit of conversation back on the Electrify WhatsApp group? Okay, well, I am recording this and I will post it.
Done silence.
Link to it. So watch out for that, and please do share it. If anybody wants to come back to either Damien or myself with any more questions, happy to field those as well. Thanks for your time, and have a good afternoon. And thank you, Damien.
Thank you, Nathan. Interesting house there, Judith. Jeez.
I like the ceiling.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. No, it's good. But that's why I need to retrofit from the exterior.
Yeah.
Because the interior is cool. And it's wooden, it's like wood walls as well. Like wood,
All right.
wood everywhere. Yeah.
There,
So, no, it's pretty
yeah.
cool. But it does have an open fire, which I have to deal with. So I don't know how to deal with that.
Just take it out. It's the easy way to fix that. Cool.
But I like the look.
Is that in central Martinborough or just out of town? Or something?
No, I'm about 6 minutes out of town. So rural.
Okay. Which direction?
Towards Carterton.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I'm
on the Ponatahi Road?
Yeah, I'm fully rural.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, cool.
No neighbours.
Oh, cool. Oh, excellent.
Yeah. So
I
thanks
like that.
for, yeah, it's awesome. I love it out here. Yeah, we've got little lambs in the paddock right now, so that's cool. Yeah. Thanks for hooking me up with that.
Owen.
Introducing me to Owen. That's cool.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Yeah, cool. Good talk.
I just happened to have his house up on the screen. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. Was that a good talk? Was that? Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah. It's definitely one of those things that, like highlighting Passive House. I think when you're talking to people that don't really know about it, it's really hard to get across what it is, really, isn't it? Like that's the tricky thing. Yeah, and like what that Warwick was asking, it is. It's put the money where you can't change it later. So it's like you can add solar later, but you can't change your slab. You're not going to change your windows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh well, I've been working on this little presentation. That's the presentation we're going to roll out now from now on down here. And I'm happy to, if you guys get up and running, I'm happy to share that first part of that with you.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. But really cool to see you modeling, normal houses in PHPP. I didn't know that you could do that. Like that it's that versatile that you can do everything.
Oh yeah, you can do anything.
Yeah,
you could do a dog kennel if you wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, it's definitely making me go, I need to learn it, because then that answers all of those questions of like people are like, okay, well if you do this, well, where should we spend the money, blah blah blah. And it's like, well, yeah.
That's Elwin. Sorry, I got stuck in another meetings. I was just going to say, was talking about you.
Is Elwin here too? Don't know who's in the background.
No, he's not. And I think it's just you and me.
Oh, yeah, I thought so. And then there's like some, I don't know, AI thing.
Yeah. No, someone's AI. Yeah. Warren's just said, good job, went well. So.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Because I say that's the first time do that presentation. I've got to do it on Thursday. So students at ARA. So
cool. Yeah.
So look, you get up and running and need a bit of a hand.
Definitely. I'll definitely be reaching out, because I'll do the training, but I think you need like I was talking to Rob Vostermans, and so he's been using Guy Shaw. He's been doing passive houses, but he's been getting Guy Shaw to do all the calculations and stuff, because, it's a pretty big thing to get your head around. So I think that's definitely the way to go. It's like, you do the training, but you're not going to be up there. You're not going to be getting your head around it all straight away. Like, you need help for quite a long time, I reckon. So,
you're right. You're right. and I'm now in 5 years in now, so
Mm.
I'm still sometimes this thing. Yesterday I was doing one where it was just spitting out the wrong answers, and I couldn't find where it was wrong, so I actually did it again,
Yeah.
to get,
Yeah.
it's just such a massive piece of kit. That it can drive you nuts. You can disappear down it and just come out a day later almost sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's more, you can model everything. You test drive anything. That's the beauty of it. And you can set it up and customize it and as you need to.
What'll be great is when one day you can go direct from ArchiCAD to PHPP, or there even be PHPP built into ArchiCAD. Like that's the step that's missing right now, is that you have to sort of export it and redo it.
ArchiCAD has its own modeling software, doesn't it?
I haven't used that, and I haven't heard much about it. I don't know anyone that does use it. You can put, with all your windows and everything, you can generate. It does have thermal modeling. So like in your components, you can put into there exactly the U value and all that kind of stuff. So you can use it to generate reports, but I haven't done it myself.
But I know somebody's created a widget to go from a Revit to PHPP.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure someone must have done, because ArchiCAD's Hungarian, right? So this is in Germany, so there must be someone that's created something. I don't know why PHI used SketchUp, but I guess it's just that it was a cheap CAD source or something at the time, It's actually, to start with, because I've used AutoCAD all my life, and so when I first got hold of this, I really hated it, but it's actually really quick. It's really quick. It's just that duplication, which is a pain, but you kind of have to a little bit, because when you take your ArchiCAD model, or you bring a model in, there's a couple of steps here that you got to make sure the envelope is tight, and no holes and gaps and stuff in it. And it's pretty hard to do that without redrawing it on
and that's what Guy said. He said that, like, because I went and saw his Wanganui house, and he was telling me a bit about it and how, your SketchUp model looks different to your ArchiCAD model, because the thermal envelope there was flat, and yet the roof was pitched, had trusses above the insulation and the airtight layer and all that kind of stuff. So like his model in SketchUp's a box, and in ArchiCAD it's got a roof on it,
So in terms of the training, the passive house training, I actually, for most people, the tradies course is all that's needed. If you want to be a designer, the trouble is you do the introduction and then you do the main course, but then you still don't learn how to use PHPP. So then you go to another course with Jason to learn how to use the system. So by the time you're sort of
crazy that you do,
in,
you do that whole course and then you still can't actually do it. Like that seems pretty weird. Like you think
it's all that first principle study,
right?
That we end up doing. They train you on all the first principle stuff, but then you just plug in the spreadsheet. So it's good to know, it's like first couple of years of university, but but then so I don't know. I think there's probably more practical ways of doing this, but I do think you need to know the fundamentals. So the tradies course is good because it gives you enough fundamentals without getting lost in calculation, and gives you enough calculation, and then gives you the practical aspect as well. And then you know how things go together, which from a design point of view is pretty important.
Yeah, that's totally important. That's the stuff that I'm going to struggle with my house, is so retrofitting it. It's how do you do the junctions between like wall and floor and roof, because there's existing structure that you then have to try and do.
Well, yours is easy in terms of you do everything from the outside until you get to slab level, and then but you got heaps of ceiling height. So
but I'm gonna go over the top. So I'll
what I'm talking about is you can insulate the top of your slab like I've done here.
Right, but
Yeah.
I can get underneath. I don't have a concrete slab. I've got a wooden floor. So I
Yeah,
can
Tim
go
wouldn't
from
have
the
thought.
outside everywhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's only my
Oh,
garage. I've got like a granny flat that's used to be a garage years ago, so that's got a concrete floor. But
Oh,
apart
well,
from that, yeah, I can
So
do.
even with all that brick line, that brick fireplace, is that not sitting on a concrete foundation? That'll be on a concrete foundation.
That I think it's literally there's a concrete ring foundation, and so I think it's
Alright.
just a bit fatter there. Yeah, so
Okay.
that's sitting on a concrete thing.
So you could
Yeah.
pull that, knock that all out, and then that would reduce the thermal
Yeah.
bridging of that element because
Yeah.
it's touching the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the house suits the look of a fireplace, but
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
to get something a bit more energy.
I don't think my husband would let me knock it out. It'll be the one non-negotiable.
Are your windows single glazed?
Oh my God, my windows are so single glazed and freezing cold. It's horrendous.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's horrible. It's literally horrible. Yeah.
Well, it looks like you've got your work cut out for you there, from what I
Oh
can see.
yeah, it's going to take years. Yeah.
How many squares is it?
I don't know. Do you know what? When we bought the place, the plans from the council was literally, I think, 2 A4 sheets of paper saying, yeah, I built a house here and it was made of wood. There were no plans, and it had sort of like a generic plan from like a spec house, like a completely different house, and not even the same systems. And it was like, yeah, it's a house that sort of looks like this. It's just bizarre. So yeah, no, there's no information. I don't know the squares, and I haven't built it in ArchiCAD yet. So it's a rectangle, just 100% a rectangle.
All right.
And I estimate it's 140 or 60. It's not.
Okay. It's not
really
super big.
small. It's not
Yeah.
small.
Yeah,
It's
it's not
got
super big
4
either.
bedrooms.
All right.
Bedrooms are decent sized, and it's only got 1 bathroom. Kitchen's big. Yes, it's not small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the starting point is for you to draw up a set of plans and get that done, and then and model it, get a blower door test to confirm airtight. We're about to start a renovation project here in Christchurch, where the builder's just done the tradies course with one of his own rentals. So the process will be to have a set of plans done, do a blower door test, set a baseline, probably put some monitoring in. We might put some monitoring in for a few months.
I was wondering about that. Like if I buy some, if you have any advice on, because I wanted to buy like one of those, to measure the CO2 and relative humidity. But what I wanted, rather than just a unit that you can look at, I wanted one that sends like hourly feedback during the night, so that I can put it in my son's room and be like, oh yeah, this is how cold it gets, or that kind of thing. So how, like, obviously would there be a systems that you could just put in different spots of the house and all go back to your computer and give you data?
Yeah, so I've got I'm running these sensors around my house. There are that one's tether. I got involved in that really early. There are several others, and then I think the Aramat ones is one I really want to get. I keep talking about getting one and playing with that, and because it has a display on it, I think I can probably do something with changing people's behavior and I think it beeps with the CO2 levels.
Right.
Whereas those ones just feed it into a spreadsheet and nobody really pays any attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the straw bale passive house in Wanganui, they had just a little unit, and it wasn't plugged in or anything, and they could just move it around.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that spits out data or not. Or if it's literally, sort of like a clock that you look at, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think there's Aramat Pro. I think you can get. I need to have another look at that. But there's I think another one's called Monkeytronics, which is a Wellington.
Oh yeah.
Base one, and they'll have data out. So
yeah.
Have a look at Monkeytronics.
Okay.
For some sensors. I have one in each of the bedrooms and one downstairs.
Yeah.
Because I know there's no point. You want a continuous period of data. You just don't want data in one room for a month and another room for a month, and it's a little bit of an expensive undertaking. But I wanted to make, when I started this process, I want to make sure that the work I was doing had I was getting a return. It wasn't just all placebo effect.
Yeah.
Definitely getting. And the CO2 thing is just amazing how
Yeah.
bad our houses are for CO2.
Yeah. It's interesting. So after the talk, so I used to do the European thing of, sort of for an hour a day, have all the doors and windows open. And my husband would be like, you're just making the whole house freezing cold and then you've got to reheat it. And I'm like, but you need to for ventilation. But after Jason's talk the other day, I was like, actually, it probably makes more sense just to crack one window at the other end of the house and have the extractor fan on in the bathroom all day long. And then so when it's been drier in here, so it's been doing that, and the house doesn't get as cold. So you are losing heat. Like, I'm fully making the house colder by doing it, but it's probably less cold than ventilating the whole house for an hour.
I think the problem with, I think the German way of, and my mother's way of, in the morning open everything up for half an hour is the best way.
You do think that? Yeah.
It definitely is. If you don't have MVHR, it's the best way. Because when you are going, say, from one corner, and we were talking about this morning in our house, if you're going from, I've got continuous extraction fans running in the bathroom here.
Yeah.
But and so we sometimes wake up in our bedroom, we feel a bit stuffy in our bedroom, so we open the window. But Anna's morning, the neighbours, you can hear the neighbours' heat pump. So she shut our window, she opened the ensuite window up. And what happens then is it draws the air gets sucked through the ensuite, through the doorway and into the bathroom, and short circuits where the bed is.
Yeah.
So it's not actually improving the air quality around us. That's why, when you put your ventilation system in, you put the inlet at the furthest corner from the door. So that it's picking the air up across the room. Whereas some people stick them above the door and it just goes straight back around. It's not doing anything.
Yeah. In your experience, how much does a good ventilation system cost? Because, we went to the workshop to look at them all, but I have no idea on the cost because I've never done one before. So
anything from the cheapest ones. There's a Christchurch made one that's the units around about $4,000, might be $8,000, anywhere from fitted from say $7,000 or $8,000 through to $25,000 for a Zender.
Yeah. Okay.
But then the recovery percentages of those cheaper systems would probably be 50%. And they'll tell you the heat exchanger will be 90%, but once you add all the ducting and stuff in, but 50% efficient to 90% efficient with your Zender systems. So again, you get what you pay for. Trying to find the right system is definitely tricky, and depends on the size of the house and where it's going to go, and whether you do you can have these through wall systems, you can have decentralized systems, not centralized systems. Pros and cons.
It's going to be tricky in here because basically with the raking ceilings are throughout the whole house. So I was planning on, it's got a central corridor, so I was planning on having a drop ceiling in there, like a false ceiling. And then putting the unit in one of the bedrooms we actually have, we're treating it like a mud room in my office and stuff. So I was thinking I'll put the unit in there and then feed everything through the hallway and then through wardrobes, hopefully. But I need to model the house and then sort of make a bit of a plan and then talk to someone to see whether it will work. But my main problem is the living room doesn't really have a way to get the air,
swing around to where can you swing around to where you're?
So there's.
Okay. So that wall.
So I was thinking like up there might be,
if we can get into that wall,
like put a bulkhead across there or something. To get and then
you don't need to be across there. You just so in that open plan space, you need extraction from your kitchen, and you probably want a couple of supplies. And if you can do that in the walls, fine. The other option, of course, if you're going up above and insulating the ceiling, is to build up the roof. Enough to get your ducts through at the upper level, and then put your insulation above the ducts to prep them in there. But I would think that'd be more expensive. Like I can easily help you with the ventilation layout, how it'll work, because that's what happened. See, that's part of how I got all started, was because as a structural engineer, we're doing structural engineering,
Yeah.
Bloody ventilation. Nobody was considering ventilation. People
Yeah.
were drilling holes through beams and saying, "Oh no, it needs to go through there," and like, no, it's not going through there. Find another way. So it wasn't being modelled. So I started modelling, or at least drawing them, drawing and designing the ventilation systems myself, so that at least they were on somebody's drawing.
Yeah. I think that's a good call. Like seeing that architect who did that, the townhouse in Christchurch, was really cool to see his, like how he'd modelled everything, like every tube. That was cool to see. Yeah.
Which house was that one?
It was the one that was brick above, below, and then like long form metal profile on the roof and walls, cladding. It was the home and income kind of setup.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
So they had the video
during the hui.
Yeah, in the hui. So so he showed the ArchiCAD like a video, like a fly-through video, but of the installation rather than like normally you use those fly-throughs to show that what the building looks like for the client. But
I've got Warren doing that now, which is good. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Warren does that. He's actually done it for me for this house. He's modelled. I could have got a 3D ventilation model for this place that he's done. Cool. Yeah.
I think if you were going to do one note for your presentation, if you were going to present to people that are mostly interested in the photovoltaic, like the PV panels, like that side of it, is to kind of point out that passive house has such a lower energy consumption that you don't need as many panels, and that's the whole point. So like you were talking about energy efficiency and that kind of thing, but like pointing it out that bluntly of like, house
that's a good point.
Better, and you won't need as many PVs, and then you can get the best ones and less of them, and you won't have to worry about how many roof planes you needed on. You might only need one roof plane that's got panels on it.
Especially when I got those comments before that. Definitely I should have said actually don't need so many panels. The trouble is that it doesn't really, because panels are now so cheap that it's a losing. If he's trying to make it a financial argument, you lose every time. So you really have to make, the only argument you've got is the comfort argument, really. So it's, if you're looking at it purely financial basis, then you're going to chuck panels all over the shop.
Well, at the moment, we are so incredibly backwards here. We have a fire and an oil heater because we haven't lived here very long. I haven't even got a heat pump installed. We use so much, and we've got hot, gas hobs, gas hot water, which I don't like at all. And we have friends come over and they're like, "Oh, you got gas hobs? That's so great!" And I'm like, "Yeah, as soon as I can afford, I'm turfing them out and getting induction." And they're like, "What? Why?" I'm like, "Many reasons."
We've gone induction. It's awesome. I'm
I
going to
can't
do
wait.
a repost. It boils water so fast. I've been talking about it for a while. Gonna put the jug and the induction on with a litre of water to give them a race. So quick.
No, that's awesome. So I know there's lots of things I need to do, but that's the thing as well. It's like, do I do PV panels and heat pump first and then get my insulate and then do my underfloor and then start on my roof, and or do I do my roof first? And
you can't do PV panels if you've got to do your roof. So
I was going to put the PV panels on my cabin, not my house. So.
Because there's a section of roof above me where we had got the panels running both ways. I need to replace that section. Never said that. I need to replace that section of roof before I do anything. So that's one of the holdups that I've got here.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh, good talk. Thanks for inviting me. That's great.
No worries.
I'll let you go.
I was just for rewiring. I thought, well, if I'm going to do a presentation, why don't I invite a few more people?
Totally.
And make it worthwhile. Yeah.
No, it's great. Yeah, brilliant. Awesome.
Hopefully we'll sometime before the end of the year. Or definitely will be around before Christmas. But
You should reach out.
Have a wee catch up if you guys haven't met up by that point. Yeah.
No, that sounds great. No, if you're heading up the Wire Up Away, reach out because you could probably even we've got a granny flat and come stay. So.
Cool. I've actually so Anna's parents are at up the Mickey Road, north of Masterton,
Oh, right.
on
Yeah.
the way to Mount Bruce, basically.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Nice.
And I've actually got a voucher for a cabin stay on a farm at Pontahi.
Oh, yeah.
Gascott's farm. So
Yeah.
so I've got a
It's
so
beautiful. It's like right up on the top of the hill with a beautiful view and stuff like that. Well, you don't want it to be windy.
Yeah, so I used to work with with Mark's old man, and
Right.
my brothers.
He's my direct neighbour, Phil Guscott.
Oh, right. Okay. Small world.
It's such a small world.
My brothers and my partner went to school with the Guscott's kids.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's so funny. It is such a small world because Guy Shaw's partner's sister-in-law is Mark's wife, or some, I can't quite exactly remember.
Susie. Oh, really?
Yeah, but something like that. So I don't know if I've got that 100%, but I think he's literally like, so he knows Mark as well. Because he was like, oh, where are you? And I was like, oh, on the road between Martinborough and Carterton. And he was like, oh, I know a farmer on that road, Guscott. And I'm like, yeah, his bulls always eat my plants.
Everybody knows Guscott.
No, it's literally Phil and Joe's house is the closest house to ours. So.
All right, okay. All right. Oh, well, have you seen either of them, say good day from me?
Yeah,
I haven't seen Phil
I will.
for ages.
Yeah. So you used to work with Phil?
Yeah, we had the building in Marston, just around from where the town hall is, called Ramfurley House. It was called Ramfurley House. It was an old villa, and he had a property consultancy business, and there was valuers in there. There were surveyors, and I was in the engineering department. So yeah, it was some fun times. So about 4 o'clock every Friday, somebody would rattle the crate of beer in the fridge, and then it would be all on from there.
That's brilliant. Yeah, he's a good dude. He hosts sort of like neighbourhood drinks occasionally.
All right.
We go along, and we're the youngest by far.
Yeah,
by several
you don't want to get in a drinking competition with him. He'd bloody kill you.
No, he's good.
No, he's good bugger. Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Oh, I'll say hi if you see him.
Brilliant. Yeah, I will. Yeah, that's so funny. World. Such a small world.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. Well, that's really good, because the good thing about that is that we can all start leaning on Mark and Sue's to build a passive house, then, can't we?
Yeah, totally. They got the money for it. They should totally do it.
I sort of disregarded this with bloody farmers are too hard to work on, but I never thought of that.
Yeah. Oh,
so,
yeah.
All right. Awesome to chat.
Okay. Yeah. See you later.
Bye.
Cheers.